on camera today I've got VM the Wildebeest, and we are coming to you live, which means we are interactive. So hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or YouTube chat if you want to try and ask any questions or get hold of us. Right, the plan for the morning, I think, is I'm going to go check up towards Cheetah Cutline. I want to just have a look if the Angama Pride maybe didn't come back towards the west and maybe into Djuma. So the plan is we'll just go and check around Cheetah Cutline area. Failing all of that, well, I'm not quite sure yet. I think it's long overdue to go and maybe check the Hyena den, so we might go and check around there, and then we'll take anything else as it comes. The nice thing about this morning is that we're going to have some sunshine, which means that hopefully we will be able to see tracks a lot better than what we have. And it also is going to be a lot drier, which means that a lot of animals hopefully will be moving around and walking towards water later in the morning. That's at least the idea anyway, and so that's what we're going to go and do. Hopefully it will be a busy one. I haven't heard much during the night. I didn't hear any lions roaring or anything like that, but that's not to say that there isn't anything around. There was also that cheetah and her 3 cubs that were around Buffelshoek, close to Buffelshoek Dam, sort of that cut line there. So you never know, if the Angama Pride went into Torchwood, it might have pushed that cheetah further towards the west and into Djuma if the Angama stayed that way. So we're just going to have a little look. Of course, it also could have had the opposite effect and pushed them east into Kruger, but you never know. So we're going to have a little look around. I think we'll take probably Twin Dams down to the south to do the southern little section, and then up Cheetah Cut Line all the way to Buffelshoek Dam, Buffelshoek boundary, and see if there isn't sign of the Angama Pride coming back. It'll be lovely just to spend some time with them again after yesterday morning's cuteness overload and those little ones. So I'm hoping they've brought the little ones back in this direction and we get to see them for a couple days. That'll be at least the idea anyway. We're just going to quickly come past Djuma or Gowrie Dam. I just want to quickly have a look if there's anything lurking around the water hole. I haven't had a chance to check if there was anything spotted on the dam cam during the night. We were busy getting Rusty ready this morning because Rusty is on its first voyage in, I would say, about 2 weeks. It's had a few little mechanical issues that it needed to get sorted out. There goes a red-billed hornbill. There was a hornbill that was busy feeding off some very, very old elephant dung, and there it's now just flown and sat up on the branch, and it's just cleaning its beak. And well, if you were digging through an elephant's dung for breakfast, you would also be wanting to clean your beak and wash it and make sure there's nothing on it. And you'll find they do it quite often. They kind of go along and they will feed, and then they go up onto a branch and they just wipe in case there's any sort of residue of any of the insects they've eaten or any kind of bits of dung or stuff on their beak, and just keeps it nice and clean and healthy and all in good condition. No, just trying to get rid of a whole bunch of mozzies as well that are in Rusty. Seem to have taken up residence since we haven't been driving. There we go. There's digging through the very same old dung. It's not the exact same ball, but it's probably from the same time. You can see that stuff is not in any way new. It is dry, it is broken up, it is no longer a sort of fresh bolus, and that's because we haven't really had many elephants around. That's actually not a bad idea too. I had tracks for elephants last night coming towards Twin Dams, crossing south, and then late in the evening as I was heading home we had tracks on top of our tracks coming back north again. So that actually is a great idea, is to go and look for our herd of elephants, or a herd of elephants. I shouldn't say our, because I think there are more than just one herd of elephants. Now, my good friend Brent Leo Smith, the good old BLS, I believe is out and about and is driving in the glorious morning sunshine in the Mara. And remember, Brent, you can do driving segments, you don't have to stay stationary.
Hello, and welcome to another magnificent morning in the Masai Mara. Now, my good friend Tristan Dexter said, I was already showed you a red-billed hornbill, and that has prompted me to issue a challenge. A challenge to the herdy birdie McCurdy. Megan is talking to me. Hi, Megan. I think she's supposed to be talking to Taylor. But anyway, my name is Brent Smith. I have Sebastian Rombi on camera, and there's Taylor McCurdy coming down the hill. Looking not so steady, the herdy birdie. There she is, coming down the mountain. Let's see. She doesn't know she's on camera. So let's see if she's doing something silly. She's talking. Look at her. Normal Taylor. Her mouth is running a mile a minute. Playing with her ponytail. Let's hope she does something embarrassing. Oh, now she knows she's on air. So I issue a challenge to both Tristan, Dixon, Taylor, the Hurdy Bird McCurdy, and it is a birding challenge. Tristan has already one up on us with a red-billed hornbill, but let's see who can get the most birds on a Sunday morning drive. Of course, as I do that, there's not a bird around me. I can hear lots of rufous nape larks calling just down the drag. But it is an absolutely gorgeous Sunday morning in the Mara. I'm not sure what the weather's like at Djuma. I'm hoping they're enjoying as gorgeous weather as we are, especially after a bit of rain. That low-felt bush really comes alive if you get a bit of sunshine after the rain. Now, let's see. So, Tristan is ahead. Now, we're going to ask you guys to keep tabs or tally on the number of birds seen. So, it's going to be a three-way header this morning between Tristan. I saw a golden pipit once in the Sabi Sands decks. And Taylor, Hurdy, not so sturdy birdie McCurdy. And of course myself, who's just me. And we're going to see who can find the most birds on this glorious morning. Aha, we are starting our morning with a Raptor. And we just get round the right side of the light for Sebastian. It's not a bird, not a bird. Oh, there we go. Ha. Oh, sorry, Sebastian. Now, it is an Aquila eagle, but now what we want to look at is the gape. Now, when I refer to the gape, it is how far the mouth extends. So if we look carefully, I'm going to do it now, I'd say that gape extends to the middle of the eye. And it's actually, I think it's a new bird for me in the Mara. And it is an Aquila, so a true eagle, which means it's got feathery legs. And normally, the most common of the big eagles we see in the Mara is the tawny eagle. This, however, I don't think is a tawny. I think it could be one of the migrants who's arrived or on their way. And it's a very dark eagle. Let me just get there we go. Eagles. I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but I always like to double check. And there's a couple of reasons I really like to double check while I'm in Kenya, because there are certain of these birds that I might not have seen before. So can we, we're in full zoom, Seb?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to wait for him to turn his head. Come on, turn your head. We need to see the color of your eye. What is the color of your eye? Come on. Because I think, is that a dark eye? That is a very dark eye. Naturable says it's a new bird for me too. Now, I think it's possibly a new bird species for me in total, but I'm going to try to speak a little bit closer to it now. Hopefully it doesn't fly, or if it does fly, it might give me some more pointers to what it is. And we are in early morning, so the light could play a few tricks on us, but I think it is actually quite a rare bird. And there we go. And keep checking the length of the tail. So initially, it looks a little bit like a Warburg's, but it's too big for a Warburg's eagle. And I'm just trying to see. So on this particular species, so the gape extends to the middle of the eye and to dark eyes. So he doesn't have light eyes, which rules out quite a few of the other eagle species. Jamie says, birds are really starting to grow on me. Thanks, Safari Live. Now, oh, yes, there we go. It's flying. I needed that. Oh, my goodness, it is what I thought it was. That is so very, very exciting. Oh, Sebastian. Oh, beautiful. Okay, it is what I thought it was, and that is actually a brand new bird species for me. It's the first time I have ever seen a greater spotted eagle. Now, it is a migrant to this area in between October and March, so we're in perfect time. And it was that dark eye and the gape to the middle of the eye that gave it away, because it's a very dark eagle compared to the ones we see. Now, if we read the status, which is quite exciting, vulnerable, scarce. That's always nice when you're a birder. But then it says possibly under-recorded. So that's very exciting. That is a brand new bird species for me. Now, if any of you are birders at home, and unlike Jamie, are just finding the joys of birding, did I forget? No, I didn't forget my pen. There's great satisfaction when you get to do this. Greater spotted eagle. Masai Mara, 2017. Ha ha ha. Now, I'm hoping my dear Herdy Birdie McCurdy catches up with that bird, because I'm pretty sure it'll also be a new one for her, and it hasn't flown off too far. But let's see if Herdy Birdie McCurdy is up to the birdie challenge.
Brent, I don't know if I'm up to the challenge this morning, but I did see the eagle flying off into the distance, and I can imagine that Sebastian got the most beautiful views. Good morning, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Jahawi, and we're just above Brent in the Mara Triangle. We're hopefully going to find lots of things. Now, Brentosaurus, remember that nickname? Remember that one time I called him Brentosaurus, and I never heard the end of it for months and months on end. And I think there was actually a really funny sort of image that was created where Brent's head was superimposed onto a T-Rex's body, and I was, well, horizontally basically in his little T-Rex arms. I can't even remember who made that, but it was quite funny. And if perhaps you are watching this morning, please share it again. Let's bring back the nickname Brentosaurus. He loves it so much. It's his favorite thing to be called. And of course, this is live and interactive, and we're hopefully going to show you some animals at some point too, other than just being a little bit silly today. So remember to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and also chat to us via the YouTube chat. It is a beautiful day. Oh, Megan. No, Megan, I don't think Brent heard that, because you told me that Brent loves the name Brentosaurus so much. So, our plan this morning, I don't know if I want to do birding today, Brent. I feel like today's not the birding day. I'm hoping to find some of those lions that we saw yesterday, because we were very lucky. We saw so many different prides. So we saw that, I was presuming that it was a mating pair. It was quite a young male and a female on the very long grass, and we ended up leaving them. We didn't even put them on screen. They just weren't doing much, and it was very difficult to see them. And then we had those two young males in a sort of quarried out section. Then we had the large sausage tree pride, and then the small sausages at one point too, well, towards the end of the show last night. Hopefully one set of those lions managed to take something down last night. I know Brent's focused on birding. I haven't quite worked out what his route's going to be, so I'm watching him at the moment. Let's see if he's going to veer off to the right or if he's going to veer off to the left. Maybe he's going to go to the marsh with all the rain around. I suppose that would be a very good area to do some birding. Maybe we're going to have to steal that idea from him and go and do some birding down there before he gets it. Although, I don't know, Brent might be able to drive quicker than me. Who drives faster, Brent or me? I'm not sure. Chasing after wild dogs, it's going to be tough. Right, I'm going to try and not scare Brent's bird away, but it seems as though he's found another.
Welcome back, guys. Now we are stalking a little brown job known as an LBJ in birding terms. You see it there, Seb? Up a little bit to the left. There we go. There we go, running around. You got him? Okay. Now this is quite a cool little birdie. Now, if you noticed, it had... So I'm going to go through how you identify LBJs if they're not calling. So you see it's got a very distinct eye stripe. Quite a dark, but not too dark, back. But the back looks quite plain. But then we look at the legs. The legs are sort of pinkish. And it's got a very long, slender bill. Now, fortunately, for you who don't know what it is, I do. So why don't you let me know if you know what bird this is. And you can do that by sending it through to the hashtag Safari Live. What bird is this? Now, it could be a new one for a lot of you out there, for your Mara bird lists. And I know a lot of you are getting close to that magical 100 mark. So it'll be great to see who's going to get to 100 today, because I think today is the day where I haven't birded properly for a really long time on Drive. We've sort of dabbled. We haven't done a good proper birding drive. So today is the day, I think, that we are going to bird very much properly. So let's see. Oh, it is a difficult one. So I'm going to see how many serious birders we have out there who want to guess what that bird is. Project Alpha. I'm very impressed. I am very, very impressed. Here we go. Plain back pipit. Well done. That is not this one here. Sorry, Seb. There we go. Number 2, plain backed pipit. Well done, Project Alpha. Wow. Okay. That's Buffy pipit. There we go. Plain back pipit there. Well done. I'm going to have to up my game. Oh, hello, little Topi. Oh, sweetness. Got some lovely baby Topies next to us here. Oh, they're so cute. Becca is wondering, what is the largest bird of prey in the Mara? Oh, Becca, it's actually one I would love to show to you, but we don't see it often when we're on Drive down in the bottom. We see it relatively often from camp, and it is an absolutely massive eagle. I suppose, it's difficult. A leopard-faced vulture could be bigger. I'm going to have to double-check that, but I don't think so. So, martial eagle, we often say as one of the biggest eagles around, but the martial eagle is smaller than an eagle we do see in the Mara from time to time. But the biggest bird of prey is definitely the leopard-faced vulture. It's an absolutely incredibly massive bird, but one of my favorite birds of prey, and one we see from camp quite often, actually from sitting in the studio we see quite often. They prefer along the escarpment, the ridges, is the African crowned eagle. And they actually are bigger than a martial eagle. They don't have the same wingspan, but they are bigger. There are rumors that they have taken small children before. That's how big they are. They are nearly 100 centimeters in length. An absolutely incredibly massive bird, and an exquisite bird to see. So they actually hunt monkeys. Is one of their favorite foods. Well, in this area, hyraxes as well. But they've got a very, very unique hunting strategy. So what happens is, if you've seen monkeys and other things alarm at a bird of prey, they'll often sit on top. So one of the eagles will actually fly above the monkeys, so the monkeys can see it. So they watch it going. And because they live in pairs, they're completely monogamous. The other one will come from in the forest, under the trees, so the monkeys don't see them. So while the monkey is busy watching its other member, it comes up and just takes the monkeys off the tree. Those talons can actually crush a monkey's skull and kill it immediately. Now, there's actually even hominin fossils, so early man, before we came Homo sapien sapien, where there's fossils that have been found that have been grabbed by a crowned eagle or a crowned eagle's relative. But they've been around for a couple of 100,000 years, longer than we are. They're even more ancient than us. What are you looking at? All of the topies suddenly started looking like there might be a Ryan around. They all started staring towards I'm going to go see where those topi are looking, just in case there is something there. Now, Tristan is trying to get away from the birding challenge because he's trying to make me jealous by chasing after my favorite animal.
Well, we are, Brent, but whether we're going to see them is actually anyone's guess at this stage. They're on Chitwa, but we're quite far back in the lineup, and for those of you who don't know what Brent's favorite animal is, it's a wild dog. And so we're trying to kind of see if we can get into the sighting, but we're still quite far back in the lineup, and so whether or not they're still going to be on Chitwa by the time we get called in, I think is debatable at this stage. So we might still be back in the birding challenge, but we'll just have to see how it goes. I have to keep one ear out. Oh, there's a hyena. I'm sure that's heard the commotion of the wild dogs, and that's why this hyena is coming in. It's a very light-colored hyena. Hello. And you can see it's going quickly, and that's probably because it's heard the commotion of the dogs. Hyenas know when wild dogs are around, best to make hay and get there quite fast, because, well, what happens when a wild dog is around is that generally stuff ends up being killed, and hyenas then get a chance to be able to feed off it. So I'm just going to turn around. We'll follow the hyena for a bit. I can't follow it too far because the wild dogs are not that far away from where I am currently, but might as well just follow it for a little bit and just see where it goes. But you can see how quickly hyenas can cover ground. I'm not going exactly that slow, and this hyena is still pulling away from me, so I'm going to try and just kind of get close enough to it. We'll have to just watch it for probably the next few minutes, and then we'll have to leave it alone because the dogs are directly south of where I am at the moment and exactly where this hyena is going. It amazes me how good they are at picking up sound and being able to work out exactly where they need to go. It's an incredible trait that they've got. You know, for us as humans, we wouldn't obviously be able to hear the wild dogs from where we are now. We certainly wouldn't know that they were here, but this guy's obviously picked it up and is now running straight to where those dogs could potentially be, just in case there is a meal. So, Crystal, you say that this particular hyena is called Heart and is one of Gwen's offsprings from February of 2015. Now, you can see its nose is down, excuse me, and is still trotting around, sniffing, trying to work out. So now I think it's lost the scent, and off it goes now back in the same direction we just came from. Excuse me, sorry, I don't know, something in the air this morning, but it's interesting because it was heading directly towards where the wild dogs are, but now it's just on its own mission altogether. And I think what's happened is that this hyena has possibly picked up on the lion tracks from yesterday, because the Nkahuma Pride, this is where they kind of came into Chitwa yesterday, but off it goes. It's going far too fast for me to keep up with, and so I'm going to probably just leave it there. Now, Becca, yes, there are only spotted hyenas here in Djuma. There used to be brown hyenas that occurred in the Kruger Park system, but unfortunately these days very few. There was one brown hyena that was seen on this road that we're on actually in 2009, I think it was, with Wild Earth. I think Peter Pretorius was the one. There comes a Nyala that's been flushed by the hyena running in that direction. So Nyala is also just deciding, I'm out of here as well. Everybody's running this morning. It seems like sun is out. It's time for a bit of exercise, and it's just all a bit chaotic, to be honest. Everybody's kind of just trying to figure out what's going on. I think the Nyala is also a bit perplexed as to why there's this crazed hyena running around. But what I want to do is that hyena ran straight towards this little den side area over here that we know Gwen has had a den before. So I just want to quickly go check it out. I don't think they're denning there in any way. I don't think there's probably any young ones, but just it's running around all over the show here. So I just want to try and check. Never know, maybe there's one of the others that are also around, hanging around this area. It's always good to investigate these kind of things. Whether they come to fruition is really irrelevant. It's just better to try and kind of have a little look around. But back to our that we see, that random brown hyena was a long time ago, and it was just one. Only never again. And so probably fine that hyena came in from somewhere and then found its way out pretty quickly. I don't think it would have stayed around too long. So it's just interesting that there was one seen. And 2009 is fairly recent if you actually think about it. It's not that long ago. And so you never know, maybe they start to come back again. I know there's a lot of brown hyenas around us on those hills to our west. There you find brown hyenas in that section there. But this is the den I was talking about. There doesn't seem to be anything there. There's no fresh excavation of the den itself. There's no sign of anything actually trying to get in it and sort of form a den site inside there. So there we go. We'll just carry on. I think let's see if we can try and negotiate this horrible little section. You can see a bit of erosion has taken place with the rain, so we're just going to try and quickly get up here. There we go, that should be fine, and all sorted. There we go. I'm just trying to also keep an ear out on what's happening with these dogs. It just sounds like absolute pandemonium around that dam. They're just eating everything and anything that moves, and so apparently it's very difficult to keep up with them. They're running in and out of the lodge and all kinds of other nonsense. So hopefully they'll settle down somewhere where we can see them and not run south and out of our traverse area, because they are flirting dangerously close with that southern boundary, which is not really ideal. But I see now there's also a leopard track here that I want to just quickly have a look at, because it looks like maybe a track for a young male. Hopefully I didn't drive over it. I think I did, so I want to just double check and see these tracks. And so the track that I'm looking at is right over there. I don't know if you can see it, Wiem. It's just in the middle of this section. There we go. So it looks like potentially a youngish male. I want to just check how fresh it is, and the reason how we check how fresh it is to actually just get out and have a little look and just touch the track, because when we've had a bit of rain and kind of misty weather like we've had, you'll find that this substrate will start to get a little bit crusty if it's an old track. And so when we come down, if we touch it, you see it's got a lot of resistance to it. It's not soft. If this was a new track, if I did that, the edges, you see, look how defined the edges would be. And if I touched it, it just collapses under my finger. This has got resistance to it, and I really have to push to be able to get out of it. So it's not really great tracks, and these are not very fresh. So I wonder who this could have been. Maybe it was from Tingana when he came through 2 days ago, and that's when they kind of made this. It looks slightly bigger now that I kind of stand over it than maybe even Tamba or Hosana. Right, forward we go, Wiem. Unfortunately, those tracks are no good to follow, so we'll have to come up with another plan and find something else to have a look for. I thought maybe they might be a little fresher. It just kind of looked okay on one of the softer sections, but alas, it seems not. What's going on there? It looks like Battalier eagles that might be mating quite far away, and so I'm going to try and go investigate these Battalier eagles that look like they potentially could be mating. They're very far in the distance, and so while I do that, I believe Brent Leo Smith got a raptor of his own in the Mara, and he's forging ahead on his bird challenge for the morning.
Look at that. So we have another aquila, or true eagle. Now the light is quite difficult on this one, and you can't really see, but it's a lot lighter than the one we just saw, and the gape doesn't extend as far. And that is a tawny eagle. Now they are the most common resident of the aquila, or true eagles, that we get here. And it's quite strange. He's sitting in a tree where I'm so used to seeing a black-chested snake eagle. I almost assumed it was a black-chested snake eagle as I drove down the hill. I was like, oh, there must be a black-breasted snake eagle there. But it is not. It was just a tawny. And we've got some helmeted guinea fowls making some noise ahead of us. I can't see them though. Oh, there's another raptor over there. That's what I love about this time of the year. The raptors are out in force. There we go. There's the black-chested snake eagle. Now, it seems that Taylor and Tristan are falling very quickly behind this birding challenge. And I actually had a little chat to Taylor, and she drove past me. And she's like, I'm going to concede. You're going to win. So I think you guys need to give Taylor some good gears, because I like a challenge. It's no fun winning all the time. Well, I do, but normally I have at least a little bit of a challenge. But we're going to keep going now. So we've got greater spotted eagle, plain black pipit, tawny eagle, black-chested snake eagle. Sebastian has seen something. I think there's another one up in the tree ahead. And Taylor is going to use like lions or something as an excuse that she can't bird because she's going to go look for lions. I just think it's because she's scared. But we've got one more bird on top of the tree here for you. Let's have a quick look. I'm pretty sure it's a... Oh, canary. Canary! Don't fly away, canary! Land, canary! Okay, so in the drain, where that rock is there, Seb, just behind it is where the canary landed. I'm hoping it didn't scuttle off too much. In the drain, so where that rock is, and it disappeared. Oh, right next to us is a... Oh, there it goes. Yes. There goes an African canary, but it's disappearing. I can't count that because it is disappearing too fast. But a very noisy bird in the Mara is right next to us. The second most noisy after the rufous snake lark. Oh, no! We can't count that as well. That was a yellow-throated longclaw. Where are you going? There they go. They're going far away. Okay, I'm not worried. We'll find more. Now, as I said, Taylor McCurdy was going to use lions as an excuse. And she's going... I saw those lions, the Angama pride, in their normal spot, and I decided I'm above lions today. But it seems like Taylor isn't.
Brent, you're so funny. I'm totally going to use these lines as an excuse not to bird this morning. I'm going to save birding for our big birding day, which is in November at some time. Well, it's in South Africa at least, but I'm sure we'll be challenging each other in Kenya too to see how many different species we can get. It can actually be quite a nice variety, but we have come across our favorite pride of lions, or one of our favorite prides of lions, the Angama pride, and they've got little bulging bellies, so I wonder what they ate. They must have eaten something last night. Although we know they were on an eland kill not so long ago. When was that? When were they on an eland kill? Yesterday morning, in fact, they were. But they've come back now. So they're looking good, they're looking healthy, and it's great to see them. And they look quite excited too. They're all walking around the car. Some are sitting up on termite mounds. This is not the whole pride. I can see little lion heads all over the show at the moment, as well as adult lion heads. Here's some of the older cubs that often give us a bit of trouble. The naughty boys. They're at that stage where they find vehicles particularly interesting, which is a challenging time for us as guides, because they feel as though they need to chase the cars. And obviously we don't want to encourage behavior like this, but they'll sort of get over it in a couple of months. It's just because it's new, it's interesting, they're big and brave, they've learned how to stalk. And you, girl, you're pulling a funny face, aren't you? Looks like she just tried to groom one of the cubs and then ended up phlegm and grimacing instead, and also dribbling everywhere. But that's one of the lionesses up there. You can see she's much larger than the others, although those youngsters are catching up to her. Oh, there's plenty birds calling this morning as well. You can hear the Birchel's, I always say the Birchel's Kruger, the white-browed cuckoo. I'm so used to the birds in South Africa. Proud cat mama, you've said that woohoo or yay, one of the two. One of you've exclaimed something, and you're quite excited to see kitty cats today. Well, I suppose with a name like Proud Cat Mama, you probably enjoy the lion sightings then. But unfortunately, we're not in an off-road area, so we're going to try and watch these cats for as long as we can, and hopefully they don't disappear too far. But they're now moving from their termite mound in this direction, which is not great, because there is a little bit of a gap between sort of where we are and the main road, and they could get lost in amongst some of these shrubs. It doesn't look like the adults are going to go off hunting just yet. They could, of course, change. We know that they're opportunistic feeders, and they take any opportunity that passes them. Now, hello, Avanti. You're wondering how many lions are normally in this pride? Well, there's typically 4 lionesses, and then there's about 12 cubs that move around in this area. However, there are another 4 lionesses and a couple of cubs, I forget how many now, that you can occasionally see together. They're supposedly from across the river, and they broke away from a pride because the pride got too big, as normally when prides sort of split up, and then now they're living quite happily here. I'm pretty sure it's the same group we saw yesterday with that eland they were eating. Now this cub on the left. Can you see how its ear is very droopy? Not that one, the one that's coming across the road. I wonder if it's got a bit of an ear infection or something like that. The way that it's holding its head and the way that ear is tilted down makes me think that there's something wrong, that it's feeling a little bit on the uncomfortable side. Obviously, cubs at this age are quite comical in the sense of the facial expressions and all those types of things, and floppy ears. However, that one looks a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, well, we'll see where these cats end up going. If they do disappear out of sight, we'll go and find some more. There's no shortage of lions in the Mara Triangle. Brent, however, is focusing on his bird challenge.
Oh, Taylor's too scared to play birdies with me. But there we go. We got lilac-breasted rollers. But they were being very mean, because exactly where that roller was sitting was actually a mayor's parrot. But they chased them off, the pair of rollers. Oh, the rollers look like they want to go for round 2. Okay, let me just reverse quickly for you there, Sebastian. So the parrots, they got chased out of this bosque here into the next bosque here, which is, of course, a shepherd's tree. Hold on. No one behind me, Sebastian. Okay, we're not going to have an accident then. Not the best view. I was hoping they'd be a bit closer, but I can hear them screeching away. So bottom, is that the parrot there?
I think so.
Or is that a starling that has landed in the same tree that the parrots are screeching from? I think that's a... There we go. Let's have a look from the distance, but it is a glossy. Which glossy have we got? Wait, there's a parrot. Just to the right of the starling, hopping around in the thicket. It looks like a Cape glossy starling to me. With the yellow eye. Oh, the parrots are in there somewhere. Oh dear, they're not being... You can hear them screeching. That's Don Roller. We had such a nice view of the parrots. Oh, there's more parrots just behind me. They sound like they're in that little camphor tree. It is a beautiful morning for birding here in the Mara. It is exquisite. And while it's cool, we're going to take advantage of all the birds we don't often see that are out in these little forests. But as it gets warmer, I'm going to move... There's the parrot. I'll try to get a bit closer now, but just for safety...
In the tree or...
In the tree, right there. Down to the left a bit. Left, there he is.
Yeah.
Is that a parrot? No, it's another starling. But that's where they were screaming from. Let us listen for another scream. Riti says she loves the parrot so much. Me too, Riti. Okay, I can still hear them screaming. Let's go a bit further forward. They might be actually in the bushes below. And they are stunning. They're called mayor's parrots or brown parrots, depending on where you're from. That's another good... they're here, right here somewhere. Oof, they're making so much noise, I just can't see them. Now, let's have a look in this bush, in these bushes just below that tree. Or they're in the tree itself, I can't see. Oh, I've got an idea, everyone. Listen to them. There's one in the tree, but it's completely silhouetted now. Okay, now we need to go backwards again. Try to get the light a bit better. Please don't fly, please don't fly, please don't fly, please don't fly, please don't fly. So try have it. You happy there? Sebastian reckons you can get them from here. So they were in the tree. It's going to be quite difficult to see. As I said, the light's quite difficult, but you can see the very distinct parrot beak. And they've got, off it goes, yellow on their shoulders. So they've got a big brown head, like our brown-headed parrots, except they've got a yellow little thing on their, actually, I'll show you a picture then, on their front. And then yellow on their shoulders, which makes them quite distinct when they fly. They are beautiful. Very, very noisy. As we can hear. Screaming away. Off there, they're flying past us. Squawk, squawk, squawk as they fly. And if they're might land in better light, yes, they're going to. Land nice out in the open for us, guys. And the starlings are actually chasing them. There we go. Look at that. And you can see that wonderful green or bluey green. Oh, they're coming right at us now. Over our heads. Sorry, Sebastian. They're going to give you a hard time, these parrots, this morning. Now, the question was what is my all-time favorite bird? And the answer is that I have too many. I have so many favorite birds. I have a favorite bird based on its call. I have a favorite bird based on the way it looks. I have a favorite bird based on their behavior. And so, like, African broadbills, one of my favorite birds. And, shoebill is another one of my favorite birds. And I'm very excited because in a couple of days, Jamie and I are going to Uganda. And Jamie's never seen shoebills before. I've seen them in the Benguela. In the Benguela swamp in Zambia, I've seen them before, but Jamie's never seen them. And I'm very excited because we're going out on a boat on Lake Victoria into a specific swamp to look for the shoebills. And also, I'm very excited about a thing called a papyrus golololonek. Not a golololonek, just a colonek, but I'll show you a picture of that later. But it sounds like Tristan is, again, like Taylor, avoiding the bird challenge to look for a mammal. But in this case, I'll forgive him because it's the African wild dog.
I am indeed Brent Leo Smith. I'm sitting on Chitwa airstrip just waiting for our chance. The dogs are not too far away, but because of the sort of closeness or proximity towards the southern boundary, I'm sitting very, very close and not really moving. I don't want it to go too far because once we get called in, if the dogs decide to go, then we're going to have a lot of issues. But I'll do some birding while I'm here. So we've got, there's actually a black-headed oriole that's just flown past, but that's not going to be easy to find. There it goes, just up into the tree itself. That's one of the more beautiful birds we get here. And then there is a Cape turtle dove. Now I believe somebody is calling me. Hold on 2 seconds. Peter, you're looking for me. Thank you very much. I'll be 2 minutes. So there we go. We can now go towards the dog, so we don't have to do too much birding, Brent. But we did a little bit just to satisfy Brent, to make sure that he understands that we are interested in our birding and we want to bird with him. But, well, sometimes there's other priorities out here, and that is, of course, wild dogs. Now, anytime we can get wild dogs is always a good time. The dogs, at the end of the day, are not the most common animal out here. We really see very few of them, and so any chance we can get is always good. Now we just got to go around the back of Chitwa. In fact, there they are right in front of us. Actually, they are much closer than I thought they were. I thought they were a little bit further to the south than where we are. So we're just going to slowly meander our way and just wait for that vehicle, because the vehicle that's in front of us is the vehicle that called us in. So we just got to wait for that vehicle to move out the way, and then I can make my way in slowly. So we're just going to meander slowly along the back of Chitwa, and of course this is an area that seems to be fairly productive. Chitwa always has a lot going on around it because of the dam and what happens around the dam, and then also this big airstrip area is so open. A lot of the antelope species tend to hang around on this airstrip and kind of sit, and that attracts a lot of the predators, and so you often find lion and leopard and wild dogs and all kinds of other things around this camp. It's one of the nice things about being at Chitwa is that there's often a lot of the predators hang in close proximity. I remember countless times being at Chitwa and seeing all kinds of different predators hanging around, and of course we had that crazy sighting of the 3 leopards here the other day, and we've had sightings of many other things. So just waiting for that vehicle to move out. It's Peter from Nkoro, who is always very good to us and always allows us lots of time with the animals and lets us into sightings. So we'll just have to say thank you to him as we go past, because he's, like I say, always very good with those kind of things. So we're just saying hello to Peter. Now, Steph, you say yay, puppies. Well, yes, it's going to be very yay as soon as we can see them. Ah, there they are. Now I can see them, which is great. I wonder which kind of grouping it is. I wonder if it's the 5 or the 3 or who we've got. It seems as though they might have killed something because everyone looks quite red in the face at this stage. But let's have a little look and see if we can just get in here a little bit better and have a closer view of who exactly. I can already see 3, and I know there was a 4th, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got quite a few of them actually. There's a lot more than I first anticipated. Now I'm not sure which pack this is, but you can see they're quite spread out. There looks like a bit of blood on the faces, so I think maybe they were successful this morning and managed to catch something, and so now they're just taking a little bit of a break. They were running around, and I was saying they were causing absolute havoc at one point, and they may be just taking a little bit of a rest now and before they then get up and start to continue running around again. But super cool to see them. It's one of the dark dogs. I think this might be some of the Sands pack. I'm not 100% sure. It could be the remainder of... Actually, there's a collared individual over there. Now, I'm not sure if that's the collared male from the Angama pack or if it's the collared individual from the Sands pack. It's going to be interesting to see. I'll have to just wait and hopefully one or two of them will pop up and stand up, and then it makes it a lot easier to be actually ID which pack of dogs we've got. At the end of the day, it's now this time of the year when the dogs are starting to move, but this could actually be the other section of the Investec breakaways. So we had the 5 dogs the other day, and then there was 8 remaining dogs, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I've got 7, 8. So this is the 8 remaining ones, I think. So this is, I think, the remainder of the Investec pack, and hopefully I will be right if they all kind of stand up. There's one particular female that I'm looking for as well, but I don't know if she was in the 5 split or in the 8 split. She's a very light colored individual, but I don't see her here, so maybe she's with the other 5. And like I said, there is this older dog from the Angama pack, which is the one that's collared, but I can't see if that's that individual that we've got lying here with the collar, but one of them does have a collar. And all of the dogs within the Kruger Park system, every pack at the moment does have a collared dog in it, and the reason why, it's not because we use this to find the dogs. We have no idea. We have no access to that information. It gets pinged to somebody else, and it only goes off every sort of 12 hours. But the reason why it's being done is because they're doing a big sort of campaign now to try and rid the area of distemper and rabies, and particularly the wild dogs, and the dogs are being vaccinated against it now. To be able to keep up with the vaccinations and to keep finding them and treating them with the dropout darts, is that they need to have one member of the pack collared so that they can find the pack. Here in the Sabi Sands, it's not so difficult for them because we report on pretty much every day where they are. The dogs generally get found anywhere that they go because of the kind of rarity of them, and then people put a lot of time in trying to find them, so they generally get found quite quickly. But in parts of Kruger, you're working with areas that are 3 times the size of the Sabi Sands before there's even a road, and so with the dogs there, they need to be collared, and otherwise to find them is almost impossible, and so the collar needs to be put on, and that's why. Hopefully after 2 years of this whole process, those collars will then be taken off, and we will no longer see sort of all of the packs with collars on them. But they're all very sleepy right now, which is great for us because it's allowed us an opportunity just to kind of catch up with them and to spend some time with them without them moving off. At the end of the day, like I was saying, Chitwa they were kind of flirting with the southern boundary, and Chitwa's north-south boundaries are quite short in comparison to the east-west boundaries. And so now that they're lying down, it means we can get a really nice long view of them, and hopefully after a while they do start to wake up and move again. But it definitely seems like there's a little bit of blood on the faces, and so maybe they're going to end up actually just sleeping for most of the day in this particular section. It could very well be the case. And Jeremiah, you say you love the satellite dishes on their heads. Well, yes, their ears are quite incredible, aren't they? And the reason why they have to have such big ears is because, unfortunately for these guys, they're not built like some of the other animals out here and are very tall and are able to see over grass. And so it's vitally important for these guys to be able to get to a situation where they can actually hear what's going on rather than see what's going on. And so big ears help for them to be able to listen to their prey animals when they are trying to keep up and trying to sort of chase them through the long grass. I'm just going to reposition myself quickly because they are lying in the road, and the vehicle that was across the road has now left, and it allows me now a chance to get a slightly better view of those dogs that are lying in the road, and that we don't have to kind of have too much grass in the way. There we go, that's a little bit better, Evian. You at least kind of can see them, but they look as though they've now decided this is where they're going to sleep for the day. And you find with the bigger packs, for some reason, they all tend to be, oh, hang on, something's just woken them up. Maybe a hyena is going to run in here and cause a bit of trauma and a bit of drama to start. I absolutely love when we see wild dogs and hyenas, because it just is absolute chaos when that happens. You'll find hyenas chasing dogs, dogs chasing hyenas. It's actually very difficult to work out who's doing what. But I wonder if we're going to see a situation where maybe a hyena arrives at some point and finds them. But you can see this dog on the right is the most alert of all of them. He's the one that keeps popping his head. I think it's a he. It looks like a he. And it's difficult to sex them when they're lying down. Becca, you're asking if there are any other dogs in the park besides wild dogs. So, no. The only dog is true dog, I would say. Or I suppose true dog is also not the right word, but the only kind of real dog that we see is these guys. They obviously are jackals and that occur here, so both the side-striped and the black-backed, which are part of the canine family. But that's it. There's no other dog-like animal that has dog in its name. These guys, actually, there's this whole big raging debate at the moment as to whether or not their name's going to be changed to painted wolf. And so they are referred to as both the painted wolf and the African wild dog. So it just depends on where you are and where you grow up that you call them different things. But at the end of the day, no, these are the only kind of wild dogs that we actually see within the park itself. They are the most incredible animals, though. When they're resting like this, they look as though they're not really capable of much, but they are absolutely ruthless. Wild dogs are a creature that is able to seriously hunt and is able to bring down a large percentage of animals. They can be seriously destructive in certain areas, and it's why wild dogs are a tough animal to reintroduce to areas. Not many people actually want wild dogs anywhere near their areas because of the heavy impact that they have on a lot of the animal species that are in the area. So you'll find them often going after things like bushbuck impalas, and they really hammer a population of antelope. And if you get a pack of denning dogs in your area, they reckon that the decrease in certain antelope species is absolutely massive. So they are ruthless when they get going, and they have to spend time resting like this, because when they are active, it's non-stop, and they trot and they run, and there's very seldom even a walk, and they'll chase multitude of different animals, and it really is a lot of energy expended. And so they sometimes do need to rest. And if they've had a tough morning, like it sounds like they have, where they've run around all over the place, then we have a situation where they'll start to relax and just take it easier. And I believe a lot of you are commenting on how nice it is just to have a calm, relaxed wild dog sighting. It is nice, isn't it? The thing about wild dogs, and the best part about it, is that you never know at any point when it's going to just go absolutely chaotic, because they can be sitting like this, resting, sleeping, and all of a sudden one of them spots an impala, and next thing the whole pack is up and running and chasing them all over the place. And so it's an animal that is always worth spending time with. Arya, you're asking what is the wild dog's hierarchy like? Well, Arya, in a group there's generally a male and female alpha pair that is on top. And then you'll often get a secondary female called the beta female, and that's then how it runs from there. That the dogs below that generally are not, there's no real pecking order between the rest of them. They'll all kind of help out and aid the cause, but there's definitely a alpha male female hierarchy within the pack itself. Now that sort of alpha male and alpha female within the pack is actually sometimes quite fluid. You'll find a situation where obviously males try and dominate for as long as they can and mate for as long as they can, but sometimes other males will come in and there'll be a process of change. And so most of these packs, you'll find that if a male is dominant for 2 to 3 years, that's a seriously good run for him. And sometimes it's even shorter than just one season, and then the next time it's a different male. Excuse me. And the reason why that is because a lot of our dogs don't live very long out here. An old wild dog in the Kruger system is 5 years old, and there are some that will go as much as 7, but generally the average age from what the research has shown is that a lot of these dogs pretty much live to about 3.5, 4 years, and that's it. And it's because of the high density of hyena, lion, leopard, crocodiles that go after dogs a lot, because dogs, when they feed, they make a lot of noise and there's a lot of things going on. They often get caught out by a lot of other predators and unfortunately then hurt by them. So their numbers and their sort of ages are very young, and that's why you get a high turnover of alpha males and females. Right, well, we're going to sit with our dogs because why not? At the end of the day, it's not every day we get to see them. They relax, they're taking it very easy. And one person who will be very, very jealous about this is that of Brent Leo Smith, who is continuing and forging forward with his birding for the morning.
Well, here we go. Another bird for our birding morning is the grey heron. Oh, what was that? That shot through the shot there. It looked like maybe a little 3-banded plover, but I can't see where it went. Now, I was on my way down towards the river, and I came across a bit of a problem. The road is now a river. Well, the road goes through a river, and it's actually too deep for me to cross. I know this particular area, so I've had to stop here. A lovely grey heron. And, oh no, the hummercorp is gone. Where did it go? No matter. Oh, a 3-banded plover. Let me see where it lands. Is being... Oh, it's landed in the grass just ahead. Very overactive, chasing every single swallow that comes past. And we've got some pearl-breasted swallows. I'll try to wait till I find some that are sitting, because I think old poor Sebastian might have heart attack trying to keep up with... There we go. Oh, no, that's a different swallow now. Lots of swallows, and I'm hoping we'll find a spot where they're sitting nicely. Yes, as I said, Sebastian is probably going to get dizzy trying to keep up with the swallows. Oh dear, I'm going to have to go round. Now, one thing that worrying me is the next river going to be this deep that I'm not able to cross it? So we're going to just... Actually, let's have a look quickly here. I don't think we're going to even be able to go around it. I'm going to have to take a different road altogether. Now, the other reason I'm in this area is I am focusing on the birds, but Sebastian, when he came across the river with me, said he had a wish list of things he had to see before he left, or hadn't seen before he left tomorrow. And we got most of them. And we're missing one still, which is what Jamie's had a fantastic. She saw 4 different black rhino yesterday on drive. So we're going to try and find at least one for Sebastian. And this is a good area for them. So we'll see if we can find Sebastian a black rhino while we keep birding. And as it's getting a bit warmer, I'm going to head towards the swamps. Oh, what do we have there? Is it going to land? No, it was a petrol patch testicular, but it's not going to land. Now, let's go to the lady who's avoiding our feathered friends this morning.
Oh my goodness, I just yawned. I'm so sorry. I couldn't even do a classic guide yawn and try and hide that when I had to look away. Brent, I feel as though because I am a bird, that I just should automatically win. Is that a warthog or a lion? Hang on. Just want to check. We're arriving at the marshy area, and then just down there, I think it was actually a warthog, but it's gone behind a mound now. Let's just check. Yes, it is a warthog. There's quite a few different animals out on. We sort of opened this morning. Lots of chopi, plenty of warthogs, but of course they would have just been coming out their burrows. And then, of course, no stranger to the marshlands is, of course, the waterback. So the reason why I've come here is to try and chat to, not chat. I got very distracted there. I came through here to just do a little bit of birding because I thought that we could maybe whack maybe 5 or 6 different species, and then Brent will be happy. So we'll get around to the marsh and then we'll do a few of them. But first we need to just go through this sort of lugger, which is not particularly deep. It's a bit disappointing. I want the water to come over the hood of the car. Here's an old friend. Actually, we were talking about them just now. Blacksmith lapwing. Cool. Also, what on earth? Sorry, I've had a little problem in my car, but I shall fix it in a moment. One of the little hooks is coming down. But there is a familiar friend, a blacksmith lapwing. Although they don't seem to be as aggressive as they are in South Africa. They're obviously chasing one another around, but not to the extent. Hang on, wait. Where are we going to go from here? You know what? I think I've actually taken the wrong road, because now I'm going to loop back to the east, and I don't want to loop back to the east. I want to go around there. Oh my goodness. Jahawi, we've made a grave mistake today. We've got a long way to go, but it's okay. Okay, so our birding morning is going to be slightly delayed then. We'll get to it eventually. But the marsh is beautiful at the moment. It's pretty saturated, so we're going to find lots of different species of birds. But like I said, we've got to go the long way around. I always forget that when you come through that lugger, there's no road that goes off to the right-hand side towards the tree line. You sort of got to follow this lugger back, and then all the way around the trees, and then hug the tree line, which you can't see, towards the Mara River, and then go back again. Now, there's a question from a younger viewer, and it's from Nezia, and you're wondering if I've ever been stuck in the mud before. Of course. Oh, yeah. Most certainly. I haven't been stuck in the mud for quite some time. The last place I got stuck was actually in a dry riverbed in sand. Can you believe it? Just an area that we basically tried to push it too far. My tracker and I made this decision together, and we decided we're going to try and follow male lions, and we wanted to see where they head off to, and you sort of see where the other guides had gone, and they stopped because the sand looks a bit thick, and we went, nah, we can do it, we'll be fine. So we went a couple of meters more and then we just went boom, into the sand. So this was the last time I was stuck. In the Eastern Cape, it was not uncommon to get stuck in the mud. It actually happened quite regularly, especially after a serious downpour. And what would happen is, because it's very steep, so you're going up and down these sort of mini mountains and hills and all that type of thing. Sometimes it would be quite difficult. You'd start going up and a couple of cars would have gone before you, so it's churned all the mud up, and then you think you're going to make it, and then you slide all the way back down again. Who have we got up here? Can you get them? They're kestrels. Let's have a quick look. It's a bit difficult. Which kestrels do we have there? They are all... I'm just going to have a quick look. I think they're kestrels. Do you know which ones they are, Jahani? They're grey ones. Grey, maybe a grey kestrel. Hang on, I think it could be another species. I just want to very quickly have a look. I'm trying to find it in my big... Actually, I have it. I think I have them on my app. My bird app. Let me just open it very quickly. I haven't seen these fellas before. This could be a new bird species for me. They look like very kestrel-like or falcon-like. Let's see if I've got anything here on my... No, we are going to have to open the big book. Aren't they beautiful? Very, very cool. Quite easy to identify. I don't think there's too many birds out there that are grey with a sort of yellow ring around their eyes, and then also a yellow cere. So, sure. So this is a bird book of Africa. You can imagine how many different birds I'm about to go through. Let me just find you. Okay, almost. I'm not used to this book yet. I miss my old birds of Southern Africa. Goodness gracious. Where are you? There you are. Okay, so 108? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a falcon. I'm just going to quickly go have a look. Yeah, that's the only problem with big books like this, is that there's too many pages. Yeah, what have we got here? What's this one? Number 2, grey kestrel. It does look... Oh, hang on. Can we actually have one last look? Because I see there's 2 birds that are very similar. Could either be a sooty falcon, which I have not seen in a very, very long time, or it's going to be a grey kestrel. So I see those straight away, looking in my book, and I'll show you in a minute, that a sooty falcon's, well, its wings extend longer than its tail. That does not look like that's the case over here. It actually looks like its tail's longer than its wings. So yes, I'm going to go with... I think I'm going to go with grey falcon. Grey kestrel. I think that's what I'm going to go with this morning, but maybe I'm wrong. What do you think, Jahawi, just looking at that? Do you think that those... their wings are not longer than their tail. No, I think that's a key identifying feature. Okay, and that's quite cool. So that's a new one for me. I've never seen them before, and a pair of them sitting up on the tops of the trees. They don't look like they're hunting. It actually just looks like they have perhaps woken up. They're catching a few rays before they take off and start searching for little rodents, for maybe a couple of reptiles and things as well. That'll also be the case. Very cool. Ooh. Oh my goodness, right, so from our relatively small raptors, we're going to go across to Brent now, who's also got a small feathered friend.
Well, there we go. What was giving Sebastian such a hard time earlier has now landed on the road. It is a wire-tailed swallow. You see that diagnostic red cap? Well, there we go, or rufous cap, rather. This looks like to be a juvenile. The colours aren't quite as striking yet. Now, Sebastian, I'm going to torture you again, because there's a very cool bird flying around, but it is another type of swallow. So we've got 2 species of saw-wing swallow that are coming through here. Now, we've got a black saw-wing and a white-headed saw-wing swallow. I'm just trying to find... Of course, they were flying right next to the car seconds ago. Let's have a look. They're coming. Oh, there it is. No, that's another white-tailed. Darn it. So there's black saw-wing swallows, and there's also white-headed saw-wings. But, they're so incredibly difficult. But there's a lot of them around, so hopefully I'm going to be able to find some roosting and give Sebastian a bit of a break. But it sounds like my most favourite thing in the world, and that's, of course, not Tristan, it's the animals he's with, are getting up and on the move.
Well, they are indeed, and there's a nyala behind us that they seem like they've spotted, so I think we're off to go and see if they're going to go and hunt it, and indeed we are. As you can see, everybody's up and now trotting, and so from lying down sleeping, we're now in a situation where I think a nyala is about to have a very, very bad day, and this whole pack is now moving towards where they're going. So hopefully we'll see them starting to hunt and starting to get going. It looks like they're kind of getting up and ready to move. Whether or not they actually will is anyone's guess. Now I'm just going to try and open the path a little bit for another vehicle that's also joining us, just to see, so that they can also see what goes on. But you can see they've kind of moved a little bit and then they've stopped. The nyala was just on the other side. I think the nyala has been clever and has run into Chitwa Lodge itself and has kind of gone to try and sort of seek shelter in that area. Well, if I was a nyala, would do the exact same, I must be honest. Now this is pretty cool. Look here, there's a crow chasing a bird of prey as well above us. There we go. So looks like a Wahlberg's eagle being chased by a crow, which is not every day you're going to see that. You can see the crow is pushing it away. It knows that the Wahlberg's is a bird of prey that hunts other birds, and so the crow is dismissing it because the crow is busy nesting on the tower that is at Chitwa Lodge. So that's why it's getting a little bit of a hard time. But the dogs look like they might start settling again. I think maybe it was just a temporary kind of waking up. They might have spotted that nyala, kind of thought about it, and now it's all time to kind of rest. But what I want to try and do is just try and get Wiem into a slightly better angle with the sun, because at the moment the kind of light is very harsh from our right hand side. and it makes a lot of shadows. So I want to just try and quickly come around this way, and this should help veer him a little bit, and we should have the sun then over our right shoulder and the dogs looking directly into the light, which will be absolutely beautiful. But I think they're going to settle down again. I don't think they're going to go too far. There we go, everybody's starting to lie down and take it easy. So it was just a short, brief little kind of movement, and now everybody is settling and is slowly but surely just finding a place to lie down. It's still quite cool this morning, and so I think maybe settling. Oh no, apparently not. Apparently some of them want to move. You can see half the pack is down and sleeping, and the other half is up and moving. And so you might find what happens is they're just looking for a bit of shade and they might lie down there. Although what I was saying is that it's cool this morning, and so if I was a dog, I would also be lying in the sunshine as well at the moment, because lying in the sun is at least a little bit warmer than in this cold kind of shade. Now that we're in the shade itself, it actually feels a little bit more chilly. So hopefully they'll all settle down again. It'll be nice if they do settle, because it means they'll still be around this afternoon. Michael, you're asking, has there been any research on the genetic diversity of the Kruger packs and you know, what was the outcome of it? So Michael, at the moment with this rabies and canine distemper, they are taking a DNA sample of all of these wild dogs, and they're working out slowly but surely what exactly is going on. Look, there's a wild dog chasing a dwarf mongoose inside the termite mound. The little dwarf mongoose is running. You can actually hear them alarm calling. The dog chased it inside there. Everybody else is fairly relaxed and lying down, but I think that dwarf mongoose was just too kind of interesting for that dog not to go and chase. But they're busy doing all the DNA testing on them at the moment and working out exactly what's going on with the DNA. So at this stage, there's no sort of sign of any results as to how closely related or what the kind of genetic variation is amongst them, but you never know. It's going to be out soon, and hopefully we'll get a better understanding of exactly what these dogs are and how they're related. But you can hear they're starting to sneeze now. Now, this is a thing that we've been discussing recently. There we go. There's a little sneeze from one of the dogs, and that they sneeze when they're starting to move. And it's almost like a voting system as to how they get to move. So everyone will have a little sneeze, and that's kind of like their vote. And that then indicates if it's a time to move, is it time to settle, is it time to lie down, which is super interesting. It's a really kind of a cool thing to do. Now, they are on their way towards Chitwa airstrip, so I want to try and keep up with them, because if they're on the airstrip itself, it's going to be really quite beautiful. I don't know if we'll get all the way there. They might lie down before we do, but let's have a look, and hopefully they will get towards where they need to go. Now, this is exactly the same area that we had Hosana, Tamba and Tingana. It's all in the exact same place, and so I wonder if maybe they're just kind of looking around and scenting. So you'll find that there's a little bit of rubble here, and this is just from where Chitwa's been doing some renovations. So they clear this out every now and then, but it's just that they've got to put it somewhere while they're busy with their renovations, and once they're done with the renovations, then they just come and basically remove everything when everything is done. But it looks like they're going to head towards the airstrip. I think let's go around, Vim. It's going to be much easier if we go around and catch them on the other side, because they are going through a difficult patch to negotiate, that's for sure. All right, let's go through here. This looks fairly open. There we go. There should be a little path that takes us through. Linda, the population of dogs is shrinking for two reasons. One, naturally they have a very high mortality rate, so unfortunately because of other predators out here, dogs, a lot of them do die, but probably the single biggest reason is people. Now, not because we hunt them, not because we chase them, not because we, domesticate them, but because we live very close to where they are and we've taken over massive tracts of habitat, and also because we have domestic animals that do have distemper and rabies and these kind of things. And because dogs are such social animals, if they get distemper or rabies, they're pretty much their entire genetic their entire pack will get it, because of how closely they bond with one another and how they kind of treat each other. Like I say, the entire pack ends up getting it and all kind of passing it on to one another, and it becomes a big problem. So it's not good for the dogs when they get these things. It literally destroys the entire sort of pack, like I say, and you get a big loss in the population very, very quickly. But I think they're hopefully going to settle in this particular area. It would be nice if they do. Now, it can't be the Sands pack because earlier I was saying I would need them to stand up, but it can't be the Sands pack because the Sands pack, currently the secondary female, or beta female, has had little puppies and they're still quite den bound at the moment, and these guys are most certainly the rest of the Investec pack. I can at least see them all now, so the rest of the Investecs are all here as well, which is cool. And I wonder where the other 5 have disappeared to. It was about a week ago, maybe just over a week, since we last saw those 5, and hopefully these guys will eventually catch up with the 5 and we'll be able to kind of rejoin, unless they've decided to split completely, which does happen with dogs. Dogs do split from time to time and end up in situations where they're kind of in different groupings. The problem is that we are going to probably lose these dogs fairly shortly. Where we're going now, 1, I don't have signal, and 2, the density of the bush is just ridiculous. To follow wild dogs through here is almost impossible. So this is going to be probably our best view of them trotting past us on the airstrip. We're going to try and keep up with them, but I doubt it's going to be possible. They, like I say, move too quickly, and in thickets like what we're just going into, it's going to be almost impossible to keep up with them. Off they go into that area. So if a wild dog is injured, they probably won't help it, even if it's due to natural causes. So if it's a human related thing, then yes, they do help it, but natural causes, no. And the reason why is because wild dogs, typically most packs carry an injury at some point and a limp or something like that. It's just the nature of wild dogs. They fight with all kinds of things like hyenas, they chase a lot of animals, and so they end up in a situation where they unfortunately do carry a lot of natural injuries. And so even though they're endangered, it's part of the natural system. It's just a way that life is, and unfortunately that's how it works. So they don't actually treat the dogs for any natural kind of things. It's only if it's human intervention do they get treated. But that's here in South Africa. In other parts of the world it might be a bit different, but here in South Africa that's how they kind of treat it. Now this is going to be a rough ride as we try and negotiate this thicket. It's really not going to be very easy. It gets super dense inside here. This little section now, while we kind of push towards the next road, is not too bad, but after this it becomes an absolute nightmare. And there's a steenbok here. So Wiem has seen a steenbok and the dogs have just walked right past it without even knowing it's there. The dogs are going, and you can see what I mean about it starting to get thick. There's a lot of branches. To even spot the dogs in this is quite difficult, so it's going to be a tough little process, but hopefully they'll end up settling somewhere and we can just try and keep up with them while they go through the thicket. This dog is sniffing around and the steenbok is still behind us. So it's just behind us here. I wonder if this dog might spot it once it comes around. And this is what they do when they're hunting. They spread out and they flush animals effectively. And once they flush something, then they give chase, and the rest of the pack will come and chase behind them. Now, even though they have blood, they still are not hugely full, and they could do with another kill. And so maybe that's why they're looking around. But I'm going to try and just get ahead of this particular... Wait, hold on. This dog looks like it's spotted. There we go. You see that dogs have spotted the steenbok. I'm going to try and just turn around quickly because it seems like they are chasing it. But the problem is that you've got to be careful of trees and all kinds of other things. So we're just trying to get around and see if we can keep up with them. Did you see which way they went, Vim? Towards the airstrip. So we can just try and get around here and see if I can keep up with them. The thing with dogs is that you tend to punish cars, and poor Rusty has just come out of the sick bay and is now following wild dogs. So Rusty, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I do apologize about this already, but let's try and just get back to where the dogs were running in case they chase the steenbok down. I'm just trying to scan to see where they would have gone. But I think they might have missed and just stopped. But one dog definitely set off after that steenbok. I don't know about the other dog. Oh, I've lost them now. Where did they go? Thought they might have run into this area, but no. I don't know where they've gone. This is typical of wild dogs too, is that they just all of a sudden grow wings and fly. When they chase things, it's very difficult because they move so fast. it's tough to kind of keep up with them and actually sort of see where they've gone. I'm just going to go back towards the airstrip in case they've come out since I've been gone, although there's a waterbuck looking down this direction. This is a little baby waterbuck. Now that's definite food for a wild dog. If wild dogs spot that little baby, they're going to be after it in a second. You can see the waterbuck are trying to get away, but that is exactly what wild dogs are looking for. They love baby waterbuck. I've seen many a baby waterbuck being chased in this area by the dogs and successfully hunted. So that's what they're looking for. But I just want to check here because they were looking in this direction. So I wonder if maybe some of the dogs didn't pop out. There's a nyala, so we don't have to worry about that side. The nice thing about wild dogs is if you see another animal, you know they're not there. It's not like a leopard or a lion where they could be stalking. These guys, because of their sort of hunting technique, there will be no antelope standing still if they are anywhere close by. So it's just about kind of trying to... There they are. Which way did they go? Right. So I'm just trying to see. And we're here now. We just saw one breed trot past us, so hopefully we'll find them, and I believe a lot of you are rooting for us to find them. There we go, there they are. So we're just going to try and keep up with them. There's one at least. Dogs, could you not have chased things on the airstrip rather? That would have been much easier for us. There they go. I can see most of the pack now. I don't think they've caught anything. It looks like it's just a greeting, although they've kind of got their tails in the air, which sometimes is, just a greeting process. So everybody's just coming back together. They're just working out where everyone is. After doing a little chase, they kind of get themselves back into sort of alignment and get everyone together, and then back off they go again. But how cool is this? There's nothing better than wild dogs, because you never know. Like I was saying earlier, it just goes from relaxed to chaos in 2 seconds. So you don't have the situation where they sit still for very long. And now you can see we're off and trotting again, and to keep up with them is going now. Cheryl, sorry, if you can just repeat that. I'm just trying to get through here. Cheryl, I think you said how fast can they run? Is that what the question was, Megan? So wild dogs will reach a top speed of about 7 kilometers again. So they're after something. They're chasing a nyala, baby nyala. They're just going to try and keep up with them. It's going to be quite tough. Sorry, Vim. Let's try and just get around here. So we're going to try and keep up. They're chasing, but it's so thick in here, it's going to be very difficult. Let's just see if we can get through this. Sorry, VM. Now, unfortunately with wild dogs, they seem to have missed again because they're back, but there was a young nyala that they were busy chasing after, and they were right behind it at one point, and obviously it just managed to get away, and so everybody's now them back towards this area. And this is what they do, is they just walk and trot, and they eventually flush something, and then everybody tries to kind of join each other and try and kind of then get back together, and hopefully one member will be able to be successful and grab something. Can you still see them? They're going that way again. Yep. All right, let's try and get through this. Now, it's always one thing when you're plowing off at first, the adrenaline pumps and you get through, but it's then once you realize where you've gotten yourself, it's not ideal. So try and just keep up with these guys. I'm sorry, Rusty. I know. Myself that I can actually do that. I believe Brent is still forging ahead with his bird list for the morning and has found himself a very, very large bird, quite endangered and now this is just getting quite nasty in here, so I think our best bet is to try and rather get out of here and get out of this direction. But I believe Brent
there we go. an endangered bird, but still quite common in the great game parks of Africa, the ground hornbill. So over their whole population, they are quite endangered. Are those geese chasing? No, they're just flying. But we've got quite a few different birds here on the edge of the Samaki swamp. There we go. There's a sacred ibis in flight. Very, very pretty. And we can hear some Egyptian geese making a hullabaloo behind us somewhere, but we've got some woolly-necked storks as well, feeding out in the marsh. And it's quite nice to see the ground hornbills, actually. They're out on the edge of the water. Oh, woolly-necked storks left a little bit. A bit more left. There we go. So you can see the reeds there. So the ground hornbills are right on the edge of the water, while the woolly-necked stork will actually go into the water to feed. And I was hoping that we'd be able to get a little bit closer. I thought the water might be a bit closer, but it's still quite deep into the Samaki swamp. And we've got another flock of sacred ibis and with some woolly-necked storks quite far out into the distance there. You can see the little white spots. What else have we got? No, there we go. A great white egret as well. And a yellow-billed stork as well. Oh, we got a few more there. Yay! Yellow-billed stork, a great white egret. Let's have a look a little bit to the left. What have we got there? What is that? Another woolly-necked stork. You can see some buffalo and waterbuck in the background. There's a cattle egret next to the buffalo. It is just truly a magnificent part of the world from a visual point of view. I mean, just look at that escarpment and the swamp. It's just gorgeous, I say. It's gorgeous. Oh, wait, we've got some... Right, let's go. Roundy. Are they going to escape? Oh, they've gone. I'm sure we'll find some more just now. Egyptian geese making a lot of noise, flying around. Now, I'm hoping as we go further along the swamp, we are going to get to a place where we can get closer. Now, as we get further and further into the little rains before the big rains, and I'm very excited for the big rains, in fact, because once all these swamps and stuff are full, the amount of birds, and birds we've definitely not seen live before, the different crakes and rails and snipes that are going to descend on this part of the world are going to be truly magnificent. Now, let's have a quick look here. Now, I saw some crowned cranes flying in this direction.